we're gonna bring up your next speaker. That's gonna be the wonderful, magnificent Chris James.
If you talk about how much you hate your fat, your body has been working all this time to keep you alive. I don't think anybody in my circle understands impossible. What's going on, everybody? So today we're going to be talking about how I lost 20 pounds in 4 days, and I didn't use a diet pill. I didn't use the gym, as you guys can tell. I didn't buy some magic tea. I stopped doing two very simple things. I stopped eating and I stopped drinking. It reminded me of that song, I Only Think of You on Two Occasions. That's day and night. This is called dry fasting, and we're going to talk a little bit about this. Now, right now, the AHA family is actually performing our very first dry fast. We call it the DR96. We're dry fasting for 4 days, and then we've got a refeed cycle, and then we repeat the cycle, and we're doing it over the course of about 25 days. We've already had several people reporting more than 25 pounds being lost. One guy has already beat the amount of weight that I promised for the challenge, was 43 pounds. He's already at 44 pounds. We've still got 2 days of dry fasting left. We still got our refeed left. I mean, he's rocking out. So why does this work? Well, first of all, the body enters a fat burning hyperdrive, okay? So when we stop eating and drinking, the body has no choice but to burn fat for nutrition, to switch to using ketones for nutrition. You're not giving it another option. See what I'm saying? So dry fasting is going to trigger what we call hyperketosis, and that's basically a metabolic state where fat is going to melt off of your body. This is what you want to happen. Now, there are studies that show that fat burning can increase up to 5 times during a dry fast. However, we like to look at dry fasting at being about 3 times more efficient than like a water fast. The other major key with dry fasting is inflammation drops off you like an absolute rock. See, here's the thing. A lot of you all think that what you would call fat is actually inflammation. And this is why I get so annoyed when people say, oh, you're just losing water weight. Well, what is water weight? Well, inflammation plays a huge role in water weight. So if our perceived weight and our aesthetic is affected heavily by inflammation in the way of bloating, in the way of puffy face, in the way of swollen belly, swollen hands, all of these things, it all makes you look more fat than what you actually are. So dry fasting helps blast away all of that inflammation, and you can actually see what you're working with, how much work you actually need to put in to get to the aesthetic that you're looking for. Now, we've talked in other videos about why dry fasting is such a bomb for inflammation, but one thing I want to point out in this video is, look, when you're not eating and you're not drinking anything, what is there to cause an irritant in your system? See, what causes inflammation to begin with? It's contamination in the system, and it comes from us eating and consuming things that aren't good for us. Well, a lot of us are confused. What do we eat? What do we drink? You know what? It's very simple. Just don't eat or drink anything, right? For a scheduled period of time, of course, doing things properly with the proper preparation, with the proper refeed, we're going to look at, like, what does the body do when we're not consuming anything? And then the cool thing about it is you guys can actually use this as a tool to figure out what you eat and drink that is harmful. So, for example, if you think that your sweet tea is healthy, right? When you come off your dry fast, you do your thing, start drinking your sweet tea, see how your body responds. Now, it's very important to understand that your body's going to be hypersensitive coming off of a dry fast, right? So you have your proper preparation, you've got your proper refeed. We've talked about that in many videos, and I'm going to tell you guys right now, if you guys want a guide for how to do this, join AHA Communities. Go www.ahacommunities.com. You can join. I have a free DR48 guide which shows you how to dry fast within a 48 period time, and then you'll know exactly what to do, step by step. You can find that in our featured post area on AHA Communities. But anyway, there's a difference between gaining weight and gaining inflammation. So we got to understand that as well. When you come off of a dry fast, you are going to gain some weight back. That just makes sense. You haven't been drinking water, so the body's going to rehydrate. That's a good thing because we're probably dehydrated. So what you have to be doing is checking your inches along with your weight. So pick a few spots, problematic areas, your bust, your stomach, your arms, your butt, whatever, and make sure that you're taping so that you can see how your body's responding to things, okay? Now, we've also talked a lot about autophagy lately. Autophagy actually gets activated more quickly when you utilize dry fasting. So with water fasting, autophagy really ramps up around day 3 or so. It kind of starts to peak out. With dry fasting, within 2 days, autophagy is already ramped up. So you're getting further faster with dry fasting. You get the added benefit of, the inflammation busting from the dry fasting. So when you dry fast, you get a very dramatic result versus with water fasting, which also gives you a dramatic result. But if you're used to the result of water fasting, the dry fasting takes it up a notch. Now, for those who don't know what autophagy is, it's basically, think about your cells recycling, right? Your cells have a big old recycling bin, and they put all the dead, damaged waste and cells and stuff in that recycling bin, and the garbage man comes, takes it away, recycles it, turns it into a new pair of shoes or whatever you want to do with it, okay? So all of the things in your system that are just basically bogging the system down get cleaned up during this process. Now, it's not a perfect process, meaning as soon as you jump into autophagy, it's not like your body is 100% healthy. It takes time, right? It takes the body time to do this work. But if you start using dry fasting as a regular fasting technique over time, let's say over the course of 2-3 months, just regularly dry fasting here and there, 2-3 times a week, whatever the case may be, you will see a complete cellular rejuvenation, okay? Now, obviously, you guys care the most about weight loss, right? That's the reason why you're here. You saw the 20 pounds in 4 days. How much weight are you looking to lose? Well, I have actually done the 20 pounds in 4 days twice, okay? I'm currently on a dry fast. I've been doing the DR96 with the rest of the team. So we are on day 3 right now. We're going into day 4 tomorrow. Day 4 will be our last day dry fasting, and then we'll start doing our water. I have lost 20 pounds in 4 days twice now using dry fasting, okay? So, everybody isn't losing 20 pounds in the 4 days. It's a range, it's an average. But what I'm noticing is people who are doing the protocol to the T, right? And then they're refeeding properly, their chances of getting more waste out are very high. Now, some things that'll slow you down. Number 1, if you're not getting good rest at night. Remember, the majority of your weight comes off while you sleep through the breath. So if you're not sleeping well at night, that's probably one of the reasons why you might not be losing as much as other people. So keep that in mind. Another reason could be because you didn't break your fast properly. Now, a lot of people think, oh, it's no big deal. I just had a little bit of McDonald's fries, or I just had a soda, or I just had some coffee. You have to understand, when it comes to fasting in general, it is a compound interest tool. Okay, so compound interest means that you get exponentially more benefit with time, with consistency. If you break that habit, if you break that pattern, you lose the compounding interest. So yes, you do see dramatic differences when you're doing everything kind of how it's laid out versus taking a little shortcuts or taking little cheat days. It makes a big difference, and I just want you guys to be aware of that. However, that is really the biggest thing. That's with the weight loss. When it comes to the other benefits of dry fasting, you really do still see a tremendous amount of benefits, whether you are, doing everything 100% correct or not. You're still probably losing the inches. And one thing that I have noticed personally with these last couple of fasts is my creativity is through the roof. I've already put together 2 new programs that I'm going to be launching over the course of the next quarter or so, where we're going to be doing some group coaching. And I'm telling you guys right now, for those of you who have been wanting to do the dry fasting, but you've been feeling a little bit of iffy about doing it because you're like, 4 days seems like a long time, I have the perfect answer for you. So my hope is that the next protocol will actually be more attractive to a larger audience of people, because if we can get if we can get over that obstacle of dry fasting, if we can learn how to do it properly, it is an amazing tool for weight loss, and you guys are going to get a lot further this year in your weight loss than you did last year going up and down with water. Now, water is a great tool, but the problem is it's the imperfections of a human being. It's doing the wrong thing too frequently, and water having to try and keep up with that, it really makes it difficult. At the other end of the spectrum, Dry fasting is a little easier because you don't get the hunger pangs, so you're less likely to get those cravings and get refeed syndrome and all those types of things. So holistically, it's a better practice. It's just you got to go into it understanding how to do it properly, okay? During this challenge, we have seen multiple non-scale victories. People obviously reducing their blood pressure, their cholesterol levels, brain fog clearing up. As I mentioned to you guys earlier, for me personally, like my creativity is on 10 right now, you know, and I'm grateful for the experience because it's going to help me build programs and build things out for you all that's going to make more sense, it's going to be more effective. Obviously, if you're not eating, you're not bloated, right? So a lot of people deal with discomfort every single day. They're just uncomfortable in their bodies. They're not digesting well. If you can work dry fasting into your weekly routine on top of mindful eating, you'll be able to nail down what's causing you bloating and then also give the body the resources and the time to heal the gut so that then maybe you can start enjoying some of your favorite foods again. Because look, at the end of the day, it's all about what the microbiome can break down and digest. And if you have a damaged system that is just not working efficiently, well, what happens if you give it time to rest and heal? Then what happens, right? You might be able to have, you know, some of those foods and stuff that you really enjoy, but you really can't really enjoy. You might be able to have them more often because the body's healing. Now, it's still an indicator to let you know, hey, maybe this isn't the best thing for you to eat. But also, you can find that like you don't respond well to digesting foods that are healthy, even though they are healthy for you, or they should be healthy, they're not digesting well because you don't have the microbiome to break that stuff down, or because you have a damaged gut. So that's something to keep in mind. I think my favorite part about this whole thing is that it's completely natural. It's once again getting back to using the body's natural resources for, you know, healing. We don't have to worry about a pill. Even if it's a natural supplement, we don't have to worry about that. We could just go back to what the body naturally does. Obviously, in the past few videos, I've been telling you guys about some of my favorite products that I use with fasting and when we do our you know, big challenges. But, you know, one thing I want to make sure always comes across clear. Those tools are designed to help give you a more seamless transition from, you know, the standard diet or whatever you're doing to being able to do and be successful with dry fasting. I want you guys to get the compound interest. I don't want you guys to have the hunger pangs. I don't want you guys to have the detox symptoms. If we can avoid that, great. But the reality is you can start dry fasting with the proper preparation and you don't need anything extra. You could do it just the way it is, okay? It's a very natural, healthy technique. So I want you guys to think about this. If you've tried, you feel like you've tried everything, right? You're exercising, you're dieting, you're doing the pills, you're doing the pregnant urine stuff, right? All those things, and nothing is really working. Maybe even doing water fasting, and water fasting, obviously water fasting works, but maybe it's just not getting you over that hump. Maybe you should try doing nothing. Maybe it's time to try doing absolutely nothing. We're not going to eat. We're not going to drink. We're not going to take a pill. We're not going to take a supplement. We're just going to stop and let the body do what the body does. If you guys enjoyed this video, hit the thumbs up button. If you want to see more videos like this, subscribe. And as always, the application of knowledge is power. And I will see you all next time.